In this video, I'm going to be telling you how to properly ship farm in Grand Prix Online and the most efficient spot to ship farm at. So before I start, I'm going to get a couple things out of the way and requirements. I would really like to recommend you to ship farm if you have 4 or more people / accounts. If you don't have 4 or more people, I feel like you're better off just doing dungeons because it's more efficient and it's faster. You're going to get more fruits on average. Again, if you're AFKing and stuff, I guess do this, but like it's not true AFK. You can do some other stuff while doing it, but you still have to pay attention and rebuild your ship. So if you're just by yourself and not with like any other people, I would highly discourage you from doing this. It's just gonna be a waste of your time if you're just only looking for fruits. There's much faster methods. But if you don't have a dungeon fruit and you have some friends, I guess do this method. It's pretty good. The requirements really is 4 things: having access to a private server, having access to both CB's cores, the Sea Serpent core and the Kraken core, having access to the second sea, which you probably already have, because how else are you going to get the Kraken core really? I mean, unless you get it through a drop, which good luck. Which, by the way, the requirement to have the Kraken core is low 400. I would highly recommend it. Again, you really want both cores. They complement each other very well. Individually, they're not amazing, but together they're really good. And have a good amount of bounty. To start, you really need 3.5/6 to 5,000 bounty to really start. The higher the better. The more bounty you have, the better. Because the higher bounty you are, the more galleons spawn, which have a 2% chance of dropping a fruit over the 1% drops that caravels do. You really want to have a minimum of 4 accounts to be efficient as possible. So again, try to accumulate 4 people. If you have 4 friends, that's probably the best. If you don't know anyone, again, check other methods out, dungeons mainly. Because realistically it's not the best. If you're doing this with strangers, it's not the best either, because you yourself are not the one that's getting the majority of the rates. It's being split between all of you, so unless they're willing to share it with you, it's probably not recommended. If your friends and you are willing to split the fruits between each other, like how I do it, you should be set. So the place I recommend mostly to do ship farming is in Coliseum of Arc. The Coliseum of Arc has a bunch of walls that you can stand on and place your ships on. You don't have to be that far from the Coliseum yourself to actually spawn your ship and let ships spawn to you. So I think this is probably the best place. You could do it closer to Alabasta, but you have less access to the shore. And if your boat breaks while you're on it, good luck. If you're not some kind of water walk user, I recommend this spot. Of course, you don't have access to the person that sells you wood. So if you're able to like ship farm outside of Alabasta, probably better than this, just to get wood, because you don't run out of it. But realistically, you should just be at the spot because it's a lot more, because you have easier access to the shore. And if one of your ships break, you can just Gepo a little bit to it, which isn't very far, and just set it down. Also, the Coliseum of Arc is the only place where fruits can spawn in the second sea as of update 4. And maybe update 4.5 they might change it, because maybe there's like some island for the Halloween event. But for right now, you can also get an extra fruit because you're near the Coliseum of Arc. So every couple hours, just check the island to see if a fruit spawns. Just an extra fruit you have access to that you don't have access to if you're in Alabasta. You have to run all the way over there to get it. So again, it's also another plus for it over Alabasta. I also highly encourage you to have a golden hammer. Highly encourage you. Almost mandatory, because the faster you can repair the ship, the less time you have to be at the ships. Also better for your ships to stay healthier than having to slowly repair it. So again, not really a requirement, but I would highly recommend a golden hammer, especially if you're starting, because you're going to need a lot of wood to start. And having to wait a bunch of seconds just to individually put one wood down is really slow and annoying. So, I mean, you can put that as a requirement. You don't have to. But again, with the 2 cores and this is probably the best thing you should do. So the best way I would tell you to do this, which I mean you're seeing in the footage, is to have PvP pads on and set your ships off a little bit from the shore. It's not too far. You don't have to be too far. This is why I recommend the spot. And then you just place them down, and then you repair all of them. Then you just kind of jump back to the wall itself, and you should be fine. Again, have all your ships at max health. The more max health, the better. I would probably go out if you start seeing your ships start getting under half health. Start repairing them. You and your friends. If you're, again, I do this method, but with my friend and we have 2 alt accounts each running at the same time, which I know, sweaty, whatever, but it's the best way to do it. If you have 6 people, your rates are ridiculous. You start getting an insane amount of fruits. And this is why I personally do this method nowadays over dungeons, especially since I get sick and tired of dungeons. Although this method gets really tiring if you're really focusing on it. But again, it's best to, just kind of watch videos while doing it. But yeah, once you place down your ships, you should turn on PvP pads. And as soon as you see a notification that says that a ship is coming towards you, or you just see a ship, you should crack your CB scores. The way I would recommend it is that 2 people crack a Kraken core, and the other 2 people crack a Sea Serpent core. I would recommend one at the front near the wall, and then one in front of the ships, so you get both sides. In this footage, you kind of see me put in both in the back. Later, I end up putting one in the front. I would highly recommend it. The main thing for them is really the bigger ships, and the Kraken deal with the smaller ships because their spin cycles just absolutely annihilate them. Now again, both can deal with those ships, but I feel like the Kraken has a much better time with smaller ships because they're so common. They sneak between crevices, and the Serpents have a hard time hitting the small ships when they get up close to the ships and stuff, unless they use their beams. So again, I would have both of them out. Realistically, I think it's better for you to each person have one out. So if you have a minimum of 4 people, one of each person has one out, just because all of you will be having a chance of dropping over time. And some information to know that Krakens have around 1345 HP, and so do Serpents. So they last around 22 minutes and 40 seconds, but most of them will die faster, mainly the Krakens, because they will end up getting hit by things like cannons and stuff. So you really want to watch out for that. Your times will be a lot slower because you know your Serpents and Krakens will die faster. This is why I recommend the placements of Serpents like this. You want to get them at least a decent pace away from them so they don't get hit. And currently in this update, there's a couple bugs where sometimes your Serpent will be just immortal, or it won't take residual damage from existing and only take damage from ships and stuff. This happened to me a couple times. Honestly, with the Serpents, it happens almost every time I do it. But yeah, if you get lucky with that, boom, that's an extra Serpent you don't have to deal with. So again, because your Krakens and stuff only last like around 22 minutes and stuff, and your Serpents last 22 minutes, even less most of the time. The way you want to do it is you want to have, again, 2 of these out, and then you crack the other 2 that each person has afterwards. Again, if you do this, you will have a cooldown of a couple minutes, so your ships will probably be destroyed. This is why I think that if you have 6 people, which is a lot, you can even 5 you can deal with this, but there's a good chance you get overwhelmed. But if you have 6, you start being able to rotate between each other, and you will never have to take a break. You can just infinitely start chaining your Serpents. When one dies, the other one spawn another one. When another dies, spawn another one, and you'll never have to take a break. Your cooldowns will be fast enough, so by the time one of your Serpents dies, the other one can place another one, and it just loops it over and over. If you have 4, there's a good chance you have to wait around 16 minutes or even more between your stuff, and you just have to let your ships get destroyed and then place them back afterwards. Again, as soon as you have 6 people, you don't have to worry about that, so it's amazing. And if you have more people, the the better. And I think a 6 is good enough, so the 2 other people at the end can place it. They will have to wait, so if those are actual individuals and stuff, you know, they'll have to wait to get drops. But it will be more efficient for you to be able to have more Krakens out at the same time as the other ones, so your cooldowns are all being rotated out in and out. So it's really good for that. And again, the higher bounty you are, the more galleons spawn, which again, more drops. You know, slowly be gaining bounty because you're doing this, so it's gonna be really good. Your drops will be a lot higher. So I did a video previously talking about the math of this. So I said that the minimum for around 4 people is 248% for every 44 minutes. Again, it's a lot higher than that. And honestly, when I was doing it, your averages are going to be a lot higher than what I'm saying in this percent. But even then, again, this is the minimum. If you get no galleons, which you will get galleons because of how the RNG works, and the higher bounty you are, the more galleons spawn. So again, this is going to be amazing. Your rates will probably be in the 300s and stuff percent every 44 minutes. And again, there's a 16-minute cooldown and stuff. So I mean, depending on your luck, it's whatever. Your luck could be better, your luck could be worse. This is an average because you're relying on RNG and percentages to get the thing. So one day you'll probably have a lot of fruits, and the other day you'll probably have like no fruits or something. That'd be ridiculous, but you'll probably have a little bit of fruits. So be patient with it. Sometimes your rates will be good, sometimes your rates will be bad. So just know that when you're doing this, you're not guaranteed this like if you were doing dungeons. So again, if you're better off with dungeons and again you're a solo person, I recommend that over this. But again, if you have like 4 or 6 people, do this. This is amazing. It's really good. Again, with the way that I set up the ships, this is the most efficient way so they won't take damage. The side ones will take the most damage and the most burn of the force, so you'll have to repair those the most, but for the most part you should be fine. Most of your ships don't take too much, and you'll just have to repair them afterwards. You might run low on things like wood, so you might have to go back to Alabasta and get it. So if you have like something like a water walk or a Pika flight, if you're a Pika user, you'll just get your wood back. If there's 6 of you, you should repair your ships first and then go back to Alabasta and all get wood, so you have a much easier time repairing your ships. But yeah, this is probably the best spot. Again, if you figure out a better spot near Alabasta so you can get access to the person that gives you wood, that's probably better. But for now, I think this is the best spot because again, you can just get to your ships much quicker than if any other spot. But yeah, I think this is the best spot, and for this method, I would recommend here. But yeah, again, this is how to ship farm. If you have any more questions, ask away in the comments. I might have been repeating myself a little. Let's see how I edit this video so that doesn't happen. But for the most part, this is everything you need to know about ship farming. Leave in the comments if you find a better spot. Again, for the most part, this is where you should be doing it. I recommend doing it, and doing it with the galleons. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like, sub, whatever. If you enjoyed the content, leave any suggestions for content that you might want to see on the channel. And yeah, again, if you have any questions or you want any clarifications on things that I said in the video, leave them in the comments. But yeah, thank you for watching.